Oh boy, what a dumpster fire. Wow. This is not something I expected to see in the big 2025 out of Fuji TV, aka the same broadcasting TV network that is responsible for airing stuff like One Piece and Dragon Ball. And to my understanding, the main networks that host One Piece and Dragon Ball, correct me if I'm wrong, One Piece and Dragon Ball air in there in Japan, at least on TV broadcasting. Obviously, this doesn't count, streaming rights and stuff, but it's a pretty big deal. Fuji TV is obviously huge. I mean, you probably recognize their name thanks to this. I mean, if anyone's watched, like, Team 4-Star, the people that did Dragon Ball Z Abridged, they credited, for instance, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, etc., and they also credited Fuji TV, okay, at the end alongside of Akira Toriyama. So Fuji TV is a massive corporation, okay? They're a massive company, and the fact that this scandal has come out, it's oh boy, it's huge. I feel like this is not something that's just gonna quietly be swept under the rug. It's possible, but I feel like just looking at what this article covers, what has happened in general, and how the media is covering it, I don't think this is something that's just going to quietly go away. This is something that is going to probably have a crippling effect on the entirety of the TV broadcasting network and their, affiliated companies and stuff. It's going to be pretty bad. So, let's get into what happened. So, I made a post earlier today when I read this article, and if you browse or Twitter and you read my post, you probably already kind of got a slight understanding of what's going on here. I took all this information directly from this post here, this article that I'm going to be covering in a second, but there is a lot of people talking about it. There is news stories covering it now. There is like the reason why it happened in the first place, to basically, the response from the network as well, and how people are necessarily reacting to it. There's a lot of information that's out right now, and let's just dive into this. So basically, Fuji TV, they got themselves into quite a scandal, very similar to Blizzard. Anyone that, knows about Blizzard, aka a huge gaming company, they got into quite a bit of bad stuff a few years back, doing some really awful things to women. And it seems like Fuji TV has basically done the exact same, and honestly, it might even be worse. Like, they are actually might even be worse than what Blizzard did, which is insane. Like that's actually insane to think about. So, context. Obviously, context matters. So, where this all began was that there was an individual part of Fuji TV network, Fuji TV here, called Masahiro Nakai. He basically was someone that got into, in a sexual assault case. Like, he actually assaulted someone, a woman, and he tried to basically pay the person hush money to keep it hush in the down low, and Fuji TV, aka, the broadcasting company, they helped hide it and supply it and all that, kind of keep it, in the media's attention, try to basically keep it completely hush to where it doesn't blow back on Nakai, this individual, but also Fuji TV. They tried to completely push it under the rug where nobody would talk about it, and the woman apparently that was associated with this case that got paid, she wanted to remain anonymous. Makes sense. She probably doesn't want to have anybody stalking her, going crazy after, especially with what's going on here. But the point of the matter is that Fuji TV and Nakai, they basically tried to silence someone through money, okay? That's basically what they did. And upon, this information coming out, it was proven that Fuji TV and its executives and all that were aware of the situation for basically 6 months prior to the news breaking in late December of 2024, and it's taken a while for, the West to really kind of actually become aware of this. There's some people that might be aware of it, but now a lot of people are starting to talk about it. But basically, now that the news is public, more things are coming out, and, upon what I could find from articles and stuff, and I've seen from Reddit comments as well, that people are talking about this article as well that was, presented, which, I'm covering in this video. People talk about how to summarize what basically happened. The too long did not read. Fuji TV allegedly pimped out their female workers to celebrities against their will, and sponsors have dropped Fuji TV en masse. So, basically, to put this in perspective, there are female workers at Fuji TV, like, that was playing, like, hostesses or whatever, like, was hosting a show or different programs, or people that worked there. They were literally invited to parties funded by Fuji TV and literally pimped out to high powerful people, politicians, to celebrities, probably people at the network, associates, probably even make business deals. That's gross. Like, that is actually insane. Actually insane. So, to go one step further about this whole ordeal and why, like, this is just some crazy stuff. I mean, this is already crazy, obviously. But, like, it's insane that the network tried to cover this up, and then now you find out more about them, and you're like, it makes a lot more sense now. I mean, they obviously are a rotten company to the core that's been doing some really heinous stuff for a good long while now. Now, there is some very fascinating information that's come out. Basically, apparently the individual, Nakai here, that did the assault and all that, that started this whole ordeal with Fuji TV, Nakai apparently, was a part of association that managed the SMA group, aka, you know, Nakai here. He was a part of, like, this big band called SMAP or whatever. Gonna be honest, I don't think I've ever listened to them. I didn't really know about them. But apparently they were like the equivalent of the Beatles, so to speak, in Japan, from my understanding. And their group disbanded a while ago or whatever, from my understanding. And, pretty much that group that was basically like a boys band group and, you know, brought up into fame, the association, the agency or whatever that helped them grow, you know, is now defunct because, of certain allegations and problems that happened. I mean, literally, it says it right here. I'll scroll. You can just read this real quick. That's why they no longer exist. So, it seems like this is very systematic, and the issues that is not just from the talent agency has spread to Nakai, but also spread to, Fuji TV. It's linked, basically. Who would have thought that Oshinoko would have given hints to just how, dastardly the entertainment industry is? I mean, to be fair, I think everybody knew. I mean, it's been obvious for a long time, but, wow. Pretty big deal. Okay, so let's get into what this does for the anime community and anime industry in the first place. Obviously, this is bad. I hope that everyone involved goes to prison. I hope that this company, honestly, at this point, it looks like the company is completely rotten and just needs to be destroyed. I think that just completely needs to be done with. Wipe your hands with it. But obviously, how does this affect anime in the anime industry? How does this affect you as the individual? Let's get into that one next. So Fuji TV, they are a big TV broadcasting network, as I've already outlined. They are responsible for broadcasting a bunch of stuff on Japanese TV, and obviously a lot of people that watch anime aren't just strictly living in Japan. There's a lot of people that obviously live around the world in different countries, etc. You either watch your anime through legal means of Crunchyroll or High Dive, Hulu, Disney, whatever, or you go the pirate way. But regardless, all anime comes from one place usually, and that is Japan. It airs in Japan first, or maybe it's simulcasted, but most of the time it originates in Japan first, maybe on TV broadcasting in Japan, and then it airs online on streaming services or whatever. So in this case, One Piece and Dragon Ball, for example, has been airing on Fuji TV for an extremely long period of time, okay? And with Fuji TV now facing a bunch of scandals and advertisers pulling out, there's proof here from this article, advertisers and sponsors pulling out like over 100 plus out of like 150 plus they have, it's very clear that there's a lot of damage to the network, and a lot of anime probably won't be able to run on the network and make a profit. Obviously, companies, associate companies, the production committee, you know, Toei Animation, different companies, etc., might not want to work with Fuji TV anymore because they're not going to make any money. FYI, if you're unaware of this, I mean, it's kind of common sense, but, you know, when an episode's put out on TV or anywhere, ads run beside it. Common sense stuff. So obviously they make their money through either sponsorship or ads. And obviously if they're not able to have sponsors on their broadcasting network because everybody is pulling out, they're not making any money. And basically what brought this whole video up and why this is crazy is Sazae, hopefully I'm saying the name right, here is the name right here. It is one of the longest, no, correction. It is the longest running anime of all time with over 7,000 episodes. It's been running since 1969, FYI. Over 55 years. It is in the Guinness World Records as the longest animated show to run, with the most episodes, so to speak, okay? Basically, Sazae is a very big part of Japanese culture and its entertainment industry, and I believe, from what I can find out, there is like 7 to 10% of just everybody in Japan that actually sit down and watch the show. It is a very big integral part to Japan, and it's a part of their community. It's a part of just like, you know, the daily watch cycle, so to speak, if you watch, you know, TV. And so, Sazae airing, which is a very important and culturally significant show airing with 0 sponsors, is actually insane. Because companies like money. We know this. Companies will literally stab you in the back and hand you a check to make as much money as possible. Okay, they'll do whatever they can, they'll say whatever they want to be able to make money. But Sazae got 0 sponsors, which is insane, because it's obviously a very lucrative spot, all things considered, because Sazae obviously gets about 7 to 10% nationwide views in Japan, from my understanding. Correct me if I am wrong there. And, you know, that's a lot of money to be made if you put your sponsors and stuff on that said product. But the fact that everybody bailed out and backed out from it says enough, that people don't want to associate themselves with this broadcasting company anymore. Go figure. Makes a lot of sense. But anyways, to make a long story short, this is pretty damaging to products that are obviously on that network and associated anime as well. And there's even talks that anyone that potentially works on the said network, and you're let's say you're a show host or whatever, you know, you might actually lose your sponsors as well, like with your talent agency. So obviously, people are not wanting to work with Fuji TV right now. So this could be basically the end of one of the biggest broadcasting companies in Japan that is not just housed, you know, the longest running anime of all time, but obviously Dragon Ball and One Piece, that is also very culturally significant. So, yeah, pretty crazy stuff, honestly. I never would have thought I would have saw this. This is some wild stuff I woke up to today. But yeah, I'm letting you guys know. This is crazy. Once again, I've definitely made a very summarized, abridged version of all this. There is so much more here. I will link to all these articles in the description if you want to check them out for yourself. But basically, it's a lot of damning evidence. There's a lot of stuff going on. But the one thing to really say about the whole situation is apparently a lot of the sponsors are waiting until the internal investigation happens with the company, like a third-party investigation, happens. And then, once it happens in March when it comes out, they'll decide if they want to come back to the company or not. Personally, I think the damage is done, with One Piece set to air as well in April, and I'm assuming it was going to air on Fuji TV, to my understanding as well. Honestly, this could affect the return of One Piece. Just saying. Now, I could be wrong there. Obviously, I'm spitballing. I have no evidence to back this one up, okay? I'm going to clarify that. But it's possible. Especially with the sponsor type stuff, not being able to make money with said anime and all that. I mean, it's very possible. So, yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching. Be safe, stay healthy, and I love you guys. Chibi out.